Oh, dearie me. Okay, Bryan Alvarez made a pretty damn shocking take. This is what the video is all about. The Bryan Alvarez take surrounding the severity of Roman Reigns' leukemia, which hardly a video I really intend or ever really want to make, but I've seen the outrage, and justifiably so, on social media towards Bryan Alvarez because of this comment in the Wrestling Observer live podcast, which came out today. I'm just going to play the clip now.
But hear me out. Reminds me of my buddy Wang. Because Wang had leukemia. And he did not have the Roman Reigns leukemia. It was bad. Bad. But he is now a leukemia survivor. And when you talk to Wang about being a leukemia survivor, and you're like, man, what a fighter, blah, blah, blah. He's like, dude, I didn't do anything. I laid in a bed and they did all the work. But here.
Now, you've heard the take. It's really not a good take. I mean, just holistically speaking, usually I'm not someone to just crucify people for their takes, but this one, was there a need to say this? I mean, realistically speaking, I get there was a conversation involving Roman Reigns and whatnot, but this comes off just so arrogant. That's like the best way to put it. It's so just, the way it was worded, you guys heard it just then. There's no remorse. It comes off so poorly. And even if Bryan in this situation, I don't know why it was needed, but even if you wanted to talk about severity as far as like leukemia and whatnot, like Bryan Alvarez tweeted the following 35 minutes ago as the making of this. So when you guys watch this, an hour, 2, 3 hours ago, but as of right now, Bryan Alvarez 35 minutes ago tweets in response to Ryan Saden saying, "What kind of person belittles someone's cancer?" which is a very fair comment. Bryan Alvarez responds, "Nobody belittled anyone's cancer. I recommend this page where you can learn about the different types of leukemia, the severity of each, and survival rates. Everyone faces a different battle and all are difficult." And he links a page about leukemia facts and statistics. Here's the thing, okay, if that's the point you're trying to make, that yes, there are different severity levels of leukemia, okay, fair point. There's factual evidence there, it's objective, but are you going to actually make the point in a way that isn't, coming off so condescending? Is there a need to say that about Roman Reigns, just in general? Is there a need to even mention cancer in any situation? Because the fact of the matter is, Roman Reigns had leukemia. He went into remission, and then he had to go back and, deal with leukemia again at the end of 2018, beginning of 2019. And regardless of what his friend Wayne did with his leukemia, it's like, really? Really? Are you going to do that to Roman Reigns? Are you going to say that about Roman Reigns? Because, not the Roman Reigns kind. Like, what a dumb take. It's stuff like this with Bryan Alvarez. Like, I look at Alvarez as someone who the IWC, by and large, detests, because you go on wrestling Twitter especially, and the amount of Alvarez slander you see, like, you do see some, like, praise of Alvarez, but by and large, there's a lot of slander towards Bryan Alvarez, and a lot of it is fair enough, based on his either AEW or NXT takes, but then you see a take like this, a take about Roman Reigns and his leukemia, and it's like, well, just why? Like, that's the kind of thing I ask in a lot of these situations. Like, when it comes to these cancellations, like, personally, I'm someone who tries to see, like, different perspectives behind things, and I guess, the perspective of Bryan Alvarez here was trying to say that his friend was not fine through leukemia, because that's not the case, because, cancer's cancer. It's nothing to, mess around with or joke about or anything, but his friend didn't have the most severe of reactions, and he coped with the, effects of leukemia by laying in bed for a few months, and therefore Roman Reigns shouldn't be praised or acknowledged positively for, getting out of the leukemia situation. Like, it's just, why? Is there a need? And once again, Alvarez on his Twitter here, linking the facts and statistics surrounding different types of leukemia, severity, survival rates. If you feel that much of a need to try and discredit Roman Reigns by making this point, like, how low is that? I mean, seriously? like, I'm all for constructive criticism in situations. Like, criticism, critical thinking, all that kind of stuff is necessary as far as how we go about our day-to-day operations, how we go about our day-to-day lives. Critical thinking is essential, and having an opinion, like one of your own, is important, not just being a sheep and following other people and with your opinion. But when it comes to this is just sending off all kinds of the wrong note. The way he said it sounded so pompous and arrogant, just demeaning, condescending of Roman Reigns and leukemia. Because I've said in this video, cancer, leukemia, nothing to mess around with, play around with, joke about, say that, oh, well, my friend only lay in bed for a few months and he was fine from his leukemia. Roman Reigns, oh, not the Roman Reigns kind. Like, come on, Bryan. This is just a dumb take. This is pathetic. Like, I'm not someone who just hates Bryan Alvarez. I don't really care. I nothing the guy. He's Bryan Alvarez. He gives his opinions on WWE and AEW. People pay like $10 a month to listen to this guy and Mike Sembravivi talk about wrestling on F4W Online and Wrestling Observer Radio. If you want to do that, good for you. It doesn't bother me, but it's stuff like this, takes like this. Personally, as I've said, I don't care if Bryan Alvarez rates an AEW match 4.5 stars and a WWE match that was basically objectively better is rated by him 3 stars. I don't care about that type of stuff. I don't care what Bryan Alvarez thinks about matches. I don't care what Bryan Alvarez says about the biz. But when it comes to stuff like this, and just takes that he shouldn't be making, like, was this even called for? I know I'll keep saying it, but dude, really? Really? Like, come on, Bryan. It's just... I mean, I guess, yeah, he responds to Ryan Satin here by saying, you know, oh, well, nobody belittled anyone's cancer. Well, if you weren't belittling his cancer, could you at least have maybe said that and made that point in any more of a constructive way? If there was any need to try and say that about Roman Reigns and the leukemia and all that struggle, could you have done that in a way that came across much less pompous, much less arrogant, much less condescending? It came off as, well, your leukemia wasn't as bad. No one should pity you, Roman. Like, come on, Bryan. Yeah, that's basically been the video. Leave down below what you think about this whole thing. It's a joke on Alvarez's part. I mean, you don't say stuff like that. Like, I'm not really in favor of cancel culture, but in a situation like this, I mean, good lord, Bryan. Good lord. Yeah, like, comment, and sub, all that kind of stuff. The video's not really about that, but yeah, Bryan Alvarez, formal apology needed. Like, comment, sub. See ya.